We'll be going into regular session. I call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Rise, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So please remain standing for invocation. Reverend Lucy Thomas from the St. Andrew's Episcopal Church, please lead us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me tonight. I'd like to open with a prayer for Councilman Ramon Felix.
Thank you very much.
The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. O God of heavenly powers, by the might of your command you drive away from our bodies all sickness and all infirmity. Be present in your goodness with your servant Ramon, that his weakness may be banished and his strength restored, and that his health being renewed he may bless your holy name, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
And the invocation. Creator God, send down upon those who hold office in this city of Nogales the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their office to promote the well-being of all people. Renew the ties of mutual regard which form our civic life together. Enable us as a community to eliminate poverty, prejudice, and oppression, that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice with order, so that residents from different cultures and with differing talents may find, with one another, the fulfillment of their humanity. Through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend.
Thank you very much.
for prayer for our colleague. Item number 4, Mayor's history fun fact. You ready, Mr. Dillon?
Yes, sir, thank you.
This is about movies. Several movies have been filmed in Santa Cruz County in these last 100 years. The total ranges between 51 to 55. From 1913, movie Toll of Fear, produced in Tumacacri, the 1955 Oklahoma filmed in San Rafael Valley, to The Postman in 1996, starring Kevin Costner, filmed in Nogales and Amado, and Traffic, starring Michael Douglas and Benicio del Toro, filmed in 2001 in Nogales, which I believe Benicio del Toro mentioned Nogales in the Oscars. One in particular was the 1949 film Johnny Stool Pigeon. It includes scenes of downtown Nogales. It was a drug smuggling movie.
Still going on?
Now it's not a movie. Which at the time created some displeasure. It starred Dan Duryea, Howard Dove, and Shelley Winters. Believe it or not, I'm talking about border wars. The drug smuggler, who was Dan Duryea, was killed in a hail of bullets at the Morley Gate. And that was, way before the drug war thing now. Another was Bottom of the Bottle, filmed in 1956. It was written originally in French by famous French mystery writer George Simenon, who summered in Tumacacri. He became part of the ranchers' social set and was impressed. They say there was so much partying and drinking, it was called Santa Booze Valley. The film opened on Morley Avenue in front of the Montezuma Hotel. This is a question. Prepare yourself. In 1956, before I go any further, if the person, this council person realizes and gets it, he's going to get a trip to France. paid by the city of Nogales. In 1956, when Bottom of the Bottle was filmed, all of us in the council were already born. Can you guess which one of us, council members, watched the filming of this movie as a child? Jesus Christ, no bar. Are you watching? Were you looking at my
Mr. Mayor,
notes?
I will tell you exactly how the movie started. The movie starts and they show a store downtown. It said Nogales Wholesale Company. I was inside the store when they were filming.
Well, let me.
If you look at the movie, you will see people inside it. I was there.
Well, let me tell you, the historian that gave me the information said Nubar Hanesian. He was in his father's store watching the making of the opening scene on downtown Nogales. Axel was watching from the placita and saw Nubar at the store. Did you get him with Axel?
No, but that's true, that's true.
Nubar, I was just joking about the trip to Venice.
I feel really
I had my fingers crossed when I said it. But those are fun facts.
Mr. Mayor, can I make just one more comment?
Go ahead.
This is about Men in Black.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Men in Black was, when they filmed it, the movie starts, and then they have to go to the main entry point for aliens in the world. And then they have a subtitle that says, Tommy Lee Jones makes that comment, let's go to the main entry point for aliens in this world. And then it says, somewhere outside Nogales, Arizona. That was new. And then the one, I mean, I've made this comment, but how do you know that Tommy Lee Jones knew who the aliens from Mexico were and who the aliens from another planet were? How did he know that? Do you remember he stopped the border patrol, they got out, and they lined them up, and he goes and he talks to one old lady and he says to her, ¿Cómo está, mamacita? ¿Cómo está? Bien, señor, le dice, bien, señor. So he goes and asks some other people. Then he stops and he asks some guy and he says, ¿Y tú, gordo, panzón, feo, qué es eso? How did he know he was an alien from another planet?
He speaks Spanish.
He didn't speak Spanish. So aliens from another planet cannot speak Spanish. That was the deal there. That was a great section. That was a great piece.
That was good. Yes, that's good. That's good. Okay, item number 5 now, call to the public. Is there anybody out there and call to the public? And if there is anybody out there and call to the public in relation to one of our items, if they wish to speak during that item, they can. If not, they can do so right now. No? Nobody? Okay, we're gonna go to item number 6, consent agenda. A motion for item A on consent agenda. Members of the council?
Mr. Mayor, so motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? The ayes have it. Members of the council, I'm going to move ahead and bring item number 19 forward to discuss that item, so that we have several people here in regards to that issue, and it's under discussion. So this will be a discussion regarding Carondelet Holy Cross Hospital decision to closing the nursing home. And I put this item on the agenda because of what's happening right now at Carondelet. Before anybody comes to the podium to speak about this item, I just want to say a few things on my behalf. I want to say that this is very important for everybody in the audience to listen and what I'm about to say. The city of Nogales, my office, the city manager's office, any office in the city administration, we were never informed of what happened. I was informed the same time you were, and probably about an hour after I had some people in my office. So, if anybody said that the city of Nogales knew about this, or my administration knew about this closing, that's not true. We're not aware of what was happening. Carondelet runs a business. It's not a public building, it's a private building. They run their business over there. They really don't have to come to us unless issues like this come. Another thing, there were some people in my office that same day, and later on, it was said that I had said in my office that the city had $2 to $3 million to offer for this issue or this problem. That was never said in my office. I don't know who took that out of content or what, but no numbers were mentioned there. The only numbers I mentioned in my office at the time when those two people were in my office was that at one time we had committed with Carondelet on building a hospital if they came across the funding that they were supposed to get, the property, and we were going to go out to get $7 million for the construction of a hospital, not for administrative costs or nothing else, only. That's the words I said in that meeting. But later on, the rumor was out there that the mayor said that there was $2 to $3 million that he offered for this problem. Never did I say that. And one person said I said it, the other person, I already talked to the other person said, Mayor, you never said such a thing. So, those rumors, please, don't. And we, the city, were not aware of what was happening. So, we'll bring this discussion forward. We'll listen to whoever wants to speak about this. Let's keep it to the issue. Let's be civil about it. There's nobody here. Is there anybody here from Carondelet, first of all? All right, there's nobody here from Carondelet, so whatever we speak, let's please keep it civil. And if there's nobody here to be able to defend themselves or talk about it, there's no reason why to talk about that. Let's talk about the necessity for this problem and what we can do, and maybe sit down and in the future look at it. And I know one thing, that the governor of the state of Arizona was the one that cut the funding that caused all this to happen. And it's not only here in the city of Nogales, it's probably happening somewhere else. But yes, access funding was cut, and there was a lot of money cut from Carondelet. So I don't have all the numbers, I don't have the exact discussions that they had at Carondelet, because I haven't had the opportunity to sit down with any representative from Carondelet, but I will. But I want to be able to have the opportunity to listen to you. Maria Sedgwick was in my office with some of you the other day, and I said yes, I would put it in the agenda for discussion, because she did not want to just do it on call to the public. She wanted to have dialogue with the city council. So this is the opportunity right now, and let's be civil about it. Thank you very much. Maria?
Good evening. My name is Maria Lopez. I am a resident of Nogales, Arizona. I was born in Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, and raised here. I thank you for an agenda item on a week's notice. Last October 26th, I attended a meeting, and if you bear with me, it's not talking about Carondelet. I am adhering to their mission statement, and it is relevant that I finish my speech.
I understand.
Thank you. Last Wednesday, October 26th, I attended a meeting at Carondelet Hospital where at about 7 p.m., the families of 26 alien residents were told they had 3 months to vacate the premises. They were given Tucson, Green Valley, and Sierra Vista as options to place their loved ones. Many of these places don't have Spanish-speaking staff, and their families will no longer be able to visit with them every day. I have an ailing 83-year-old mother. If I told her she had to leave her home, I would be accelerating her death. She would die of sadness because all she wants is to remain at home until her final day. This facility is home to these 26 ailing residents. In our Mexican tradition, we take care of our old and our sick at home. We are a caring and loving culture that understands that we have a debt to repay. The debt is one of honor, which we pay back with our love and support during the period of their lives when they can no longer take care of themselves. Payback is also a privilege, for when our loved ones are nearing their final moments, they pass along the baton of their wisdom, which we are expected to pass along to our next generation. Just as they taught us how to walk and be respectable human beings that integrate the society, they teach us how to die with dignity. In turn, they achieve immortality because the dead inhabit the hearts of those who let them in. Today is the day of our dead. Mexicans only place their loved ones in rest homes when we have no other alternative. It is a painful decision, which we mitigate by staying close to them and devoting as much time as possible to their care and well-being by visiting with them on a daily basis whenever this is possible. To us, family is a verb. It requires action. Carondelet's Holy Cross Hospital's philosophy, mission, and value statement reads as follows. Under service to the poor, they wrote, generosity of spirit, especially for persons in need. These words are just that when they are not followed by actions. We have placed in Carondelet's care our most valuable, our most vulnerable, our most valued, for they can no longer take care of themselves. They rely on the generosity of spirit of every single one of us. For these 26 residents are those persons in most need. Where is Carondelet's generosity of spirit? Is it even worth the paper it's written on? They state reverence as respect and compassion for the dignity and diversity of life. There is no respect and compassion in deciding the future of these 1826 residents and impacting families and a whole community in a manner that does not permit us to respond to the needs of our most vulnerable with alternative solutions. 3 months is not enough time. They state integrity as inspiring trust through personal leadership. The governing board and representatives of Carondelet Hospital have not inspired trust. The families of these 26 ailing residents feel they kept this important decision a secret until last Wednesday. They asked on repeated occasions, and the response they got from staff and people in authority was they were just rumors. Carondelet lacks personal leadership, which is evident today as they failed to see the importance of showing up. They state wisdom as an integration of excellence and stewardship. The excellence that this hospital achieved was through the care, love, and devotion of the people involved in the direct care of these residents. It is a testament of our Mexican culture and is the one area of the services provided by this institution that can be upheld with pride. Now, Carondelet will send these talented and specialized employees to the lines of our ever-growing unemployed. We ask Carondelet to comply with its mission of integration. It is being called to exercise its stewardship through the responsible care of our most valued residents who can no longer take care of themselves. We have entrusted them to Carondelet. They state creativity as courageous innovation. We are asking Carondelet to hold themselves true to their written promise. We ask this institution to have the courage to be innovative. Now is the time. Innovation means to introduce something new. Sister Irma said we had to learn how to suffer. Suffering is what we have experienced over the slow decline of the essential services that are required in a conscientious and healthy community. Enough suffering. We must all have the courage to be innovative and to come up with solutions that leave us filled with hope and joy and an all-abiding sense of well-being, because we all pull together to protect our most vulnerable, our dependents, our very old, In closing, Carondelet also states dedication as an affirmation of the people, as an affirmation of the hope and joy of their ministry. We ask Carondelet to restore the hope of an entire community by working with us in these times of so much need, times that exhort us all to have the courage, creativity through innovation, stewardship, excellence, integrity, respect, compassion, dedication, generosity of spirit, and to remember that knowledge without wisdom amounts to nothing. It is time for reverence. We must revere life by recognizing the divinity from which it came through. They are our parents, our grandparents. They gave us life. They need us, and we need them. We need to have our own nursing home. One where the majority of the staff speaks Spanish and can communicate with them and will enable us to visit with them daily. Mayor Garino and members of this council, your Human Resources Department's mission reads as follows. It is your mission to ensure that highly qualified individuals are recruited, developed, and retained. Your vision is to become an exemplary provider of human resources, values, integrity, ethics, professionalism, quality, customer service, public service, and teamwork. Last year, my dear friend Mariana Davies, her daughter Gabby, and I brought before you the faces of hunger. People from our community showed up to let this city know they were suffering. They were hungry, and many of them had gone without utilities for over a year. Do any of you know what it feels like to live under these conditions? We had a pile of utility bills that were about to be disconnected and asked each one of you, as individuals, to pay one or more of these bills so that our very young, our very old, would not spend months living in freezing cold homes without gas or electricity and empty refrigerators. These people were willing to pay you back with whatever services you needed, be it making homemade tortillas to cleaning your lawns. You were supposed to let them know you cared by being their support while we figured out how to bring jobs and opportunities to our dilapidated community. None of you, not one, paid one bill. We immediately received an invitation from the citizens of Tubac through Mr. Jim Bowman. They took all of our utility bills. They paid them for 3 months, and they befriended our families in need. Keep in mind, these generous individuals paid the utility bills of the families they adopted for 3 months. We are talking about $25,000 to $30,000. They have already told us they are ready to do it again. Mr. Garino, in our meeting last Monday, you expressed I had come here with a circus. We were not here to entertain any of you. We were a movement which we named La Raza contra el Hambre, and none of you joined with us. Ordinary people from this community looking desperately to do better for the people and by the people. Mayor, members of this council, if you are not about eradicating hunger, making sure our young and our old are taken care of, then what are you about? We all need to understand what you do with our hard-earned money. Mr. Shane Dilley, your job description reads as follows. The city manager is hired to serve the city council and the community and to provide the benefits of training and experience in administrating local government projects and programs. On the city's webpage, it says city council members and residents count on the city manager to complete and objective informations, including alternative and long-term consequences. I came to you on 2 occasions. The first time I explained the project and left you with a list of questions that would allow us to move forward. The second time you canceled our meeting 1 hour before we were to meet, and you promised to call me back to set up a third meeting. To this date, almost a year later, I have not heard from you. This project was aimed at providing temporary employment on weekends to give our unemployed an opportunity to sell their arts and crafts and their delicious homemade preserves and food, and most importantly, to restore interdependence. It is obvious your heart is not in our community. The word around town is that this city is run by a part-time lawyer. A city cannot function.
Wait a minute.
I need to
No,
finish
no,
my
no,
speech.
no, wait a minute.
It is relevant that
No,
I
no,
finish.
no, it's not irrelevant. This is that's why I mentioned to you in my, you're gonna talk about the hospital.
I am.
No.
I am coming to the
No,
500
you
million that were
already jumped-
taken from.
Maria, you jumped a year back. Let's
Yes,
talk about the
because
hospital.
we need to understand how we got here.
Let's talk about the hospital.
Let's do.
Okay?
A city cannot function with a part-time lawyer and an uncaring city manager. We need a lawyer and a city manager that will assist this council and our community in figure out how we petition so this racist government, Mrs. Jen Brewer, who represents the state of Arizona and has forgotten that we are part of this state, does not finish her term. Arizona's health and wellness budget was cut by $500 million. We are losing our nursing home because someone did not pay attention. We are once again asking the people of this impoverished community to pass a bond to help the Nogales Unified School District so that we can provide program, tutoring, DARE, young audiences, international baccalaureate programs, music, extracurricular clubs, and the recruitment and retention of qualified staff. I sure hope our community passes this override, which is much more important than a $50 million prison. We must all decide how we want our hard-earned money to be spent by our government. Will we be a community that eradicates hunger and desperation and looks after its old and cares about our children's education? Until then, can we restore faith, hope, and joy? Mayor Garino, on November 12th, you have been invited to meet with President Obama, and you have promised La Voz del Pueblo to hand-deliver a letter which will explain the consequences of this government's actions on our small town of Nogales, Arizona. We ask this council to assist us with a meeting with Carondelet Hospital officials and to include members of La Voz, as well as the families of these 26 residents. Nogales, Arizona must always have its own nursing home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm very grateful that you let us,
Your name,
that you,
please? Your name?
I'm sorry. I'm Sister Esther Hughes, Sister Esther Hughes. I'm the principal at Lourdes Catholic School, but I'm not in that function today. I have lived in Nogales, Arizona since I was 15 years old as a student. I came here. Tonight, what I want to do is to thank you for allowing us to come here. I don't have a written speech, and I don't have an agenda. I have a mom who is at the nursing home with Alzheimer's, and she has been there for 8 years. Tomorrow, November 3rd, is the 8th year that she has spent there. We complete 8 years there. My mom has suffered Alzheimer's for about 15 years. We are a family of 6 children that she had, 4 girls. She was very fortunate to have 4 girls, and the 4 of us take turns in taking care of her. First, we took care of her at home, taking turns with our jobs, my sisters with their families, and we did as much as we could until 8 years ago, when, much against our will, we had to decide to take her to the nursing home. to Holy Cross Nursing Home, where she has been. My only plea to I understand the financial crisis. I understand the cuts in funds. I understand all these things that our governor, unfortunately, has been doing to our state. It has touched me already in the field of education. It has touched me deeply there, and I suffer for my children. But I also, and now, suffer because of this very unfortunate decision that Carondelet had to do. What I resent of the board, and I spoke to one of the members of Carondelet board this week, is that they never told us, they never let us know that the financial crisis that we all know is going on in Arizona and in our city was affecting the hospital in this way. I resent that very, very greatly. It was not until last Wednesday, October 26th, when we were called to a public meeting and we were given the bad news that Carondelet, that the nursing home was going to be open for only 3 more months. We are a family that would have preferred to have my mother at home, but right now she's in a state, she's bedridden, she doesn't speak, she doesn't feed herself, she doesn't do anything by herself. And we want to have her close to us because we know that that's what she would have liked. We're very much against moving our mother away from Nogales. There is no local nursing home or place that will accept my mother. We have already approached them. 4 or 5 houses in Nogales. They do not have the facility for her. Of course, we're looking into another possibilities, a nursing home in Green Valley, and that's as far as we want to go. We do not want to think about taking my mother to Tucson. They will inflict on us extra burdens in finances and in stress, emotional. My mother is in the last stages of Alzheimer's. And what my family, my sisters who are here, my nephew, what we would like to ask is there a way in which some funds, somehow, some monies could be found so that Carondelet will be willing to continue, at least give us a longer time, a year maybe? We find 3 months a very short time. And I know you are not the governing board of Carondelet, but I trust in your intelligence and your willingness to help us in this case. I have to think that there are funds, there are taxes, I don't mean local taxes, they are floating around somewhere that could be tapped. And that is the question. Could we find together some other funds that could help our loved ones, the 26 that are there right now? I mean, it's okay if Carondelet doesn't accept any new residents, but to let them finish or to end the term in this place could be possible if we could find some funds somewhere. I know there's a tobacco tax fund for emergencies that is given to hospitals for families that cannot pay. There must be some other funds that could be possible to apply to this. And in all, I'd like to say that it is very important that together we work to see for other avenues and other solutions for this very ugly circumstance of the nursing home closing on us unannounced. Mr. Garino was not the only one I have heard that didn't know anything until Carondelet came public. Today I spoke to one of the supervisors at the nursing of the nursing staff of the nursing home. She has a supervising job, she did not know until it was made public. I cannot believe that the board, Carondelet board, and the whole governing body of the hospital was able to carry this on in complete secrecy. That is not right. That is not right. And I wish that somebody from Carondelet were here so they could hear that we are very upset about their doing. So my plea is to you, Mr. Mayor, Council, and the people that are here to find ways in which we can ask Carondelet to come forward and act as their mission dictates them, and also to find some funds that might be available for the residents to have more time so they can find a decent place to be located. My last plea is to the city of Nogales, because this is a great community, and do people out there know that we are staying without the services? All of us, all of you maybe, have parents, have loved ones that will need this. Does everybody know, the community? Do they know that there's no longer a place to keep their loved ones close to them? Thank you very much for your attention.
Sister, just one question. Did you mention that to Carondelet about looking for other funding or other sources that
I-
you talked?
No, I'm sorry, I haven't had the chance. The one board member that I spoke to, I wanted to ask him, why is this, and how long have you known? How long have you been meeting about this problem, and that sort of thing,
But you didn't get to that point.
No, I haven't gotten to that point, but I'm not gonna stop asking questions.
Well, I'm gonna do that myself too.
Thank you very much.
And, because I need to get some more answers on this, I know we're not gonna get any answers out right now, because all we're gonna get is comments right now. Because to get answers, you need to have somebody from Carondelet
We need
present.
some from their side.
It's
of
not
course.
easy for us as a council to expect any answers right now except for comments.
I
But
understand.
believe me, I will address this and see if there is any type of funding or any assistance that maybe Carondelet would be willing to sit with us as a city, as a governing body, for type of letters of support and looking for an opportunity out there. And I think we need to bring the county supervisors on board on this,
Thank you.
because they should be part of this too.
Thank you very much.
This is not only a city issue, this is a county issue.
That's why we wanted to come and make a plea in public to all of you.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you
sister.
very much for
Thank
listening.
you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Mr. Day.
Truly, this type of activity in any community is unfortunate, and it affects a lot of people at the core of their emotional system, at their heart. And obviously we can see it and we can sense it, we can feel it here tonight. One of the struggles that we have, at least under our charter, at the local level of government here in Arizona, is that local government typically doesn't have its hand in the healthcare industry. There are some fingering of responsibility that you might be able to tie at the county level. Certainly is at the state level. You know that the governor's office is heavily involved in terms of access and different things at the state level that affect people on the local level. In response to the sister's comments, I don't think that there's any staff member here from the city that just off of their hip knows of a grant funding avenue for this type of situation. And that's only because this isn't the business that the local government is really involved in. This is a private hospital. It's a business. It works off of a profit margin. Local government doesn't operate that way. But we know that it is common where there's federal grant opportunities that can get passed on to nonprofit groups and the private sector through a local government source. We would lean on Carondelet to be able to identify some of those avenues and those potentials. And I just wanted to reassure the council, you already know this, but I wanted to also reassure the general public that if there are those types of programs out there, in the kind of dire straits that we're in right now, I don't see the city as being anything other than a partner in trying to make that pass-through happen. Sometimes the federal government can't react unless it's working through another government entity, and in this case it would be the city or the county, to help the private sector or the nonprofit sector. The city doesn't know what those resources are, but if anybody in this community does, it's going to be Carondelet. And I welcome the opportunity to meet with the mayor and the board of Carondelet and stakeholders in the community to see what kind of opportunities there are out there for this, where the city could be a partner in terms of a pass-through. We can maybe actually be the responsible agency in applying for those grants, understanding that it's gonna go to a different place than the city. We did something like that with NCD, right?
NCD.
Just recently, where we had a pass-through grant. There was monies that a nonprofit couldn't obtain unless it went through a local government. And in that case, the city of Nogales was the applicant for that, knowing that it was going to benefit a nonprofit group. And we were 100% on board to do that. We would do the very same if there was ever a grant opportunity or funding opportunity that would help in this need. And I just wanted to pass that along to the general public.
Thank you, Mr. Julian. Any member of the council? Mr. Parada?
I think that the Board of Supervisors do have a big issue here that they can handle. It's part of it. They have a tax levy for medical care, but they can come back and start funding the hospital for the indigent. It's their responsibility as a board. And I have some of the articles here on it, on the facilities and care of the indigents. I believe that's one of my answers here. And the second answer to Mrs. Maria Cedric, that night you came up with a proposal to pick up the tabs of some of the people that are in need for the electric and gas. Some of us here can really afford it, but I can tell you this much: I'm in a fixed income, and I don't think I could afford to pay those high bills. But I do this very often. I pay medical bills for people that can't pay, and I make the most I can. And I myself, and I offer myself to transport them for therapies. So thank you.
I thank you for your response. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it, and I understand it. Many times when
Could you please come to the podium?
we have seen all of you campaigning for our vote and going out to the community and asking, many people would take one of these bills and say, you know what, I'm going to get together with a group of friends and pay it. Many people in this community did it. And I'm sorry you weren't in a place where you could help, but I greatly appreciate your response today. Thank you.
And on behalf of that too, I just want to say that for the past 20 years, my wife and I have been working with 6 nonprofit organizations, volunteering our time for no money for the elderly, the disabled, and the students of the schools. So, there's ways of how we do our things too. 20 years we've been doing that. Okay? So it's not something that, don't think that none of us up here are interested in our community and the work we do for the community. This is volunteer work that we do weekends and nights at the schools with the elderly, fixing their homes, cleaning their yards, helping them with refrigerators, stoves, water heaters, furnaces, all that. We've been doing that for 20 years with 6 different nonprofit organizations. So, there's ways of helping. Sometimes you can do it financially, and sometimes you can't.
You know what was the importance that specific day? That you see a community coming together and creating a program, a system out of the sleeves to aid these families in need. We were excited, we were here, we came to present this, and the least we expected from our city council was a round of applause, and to say that you commended us for going out and doing what was the impossible, moving $30,000-$40,000 in the span of 2 weeks, because we saw the desperate need of this community. I highly suggest that when other groups come before you with this type of action, you commend them, you applaud them, and you take a few of their bills, maybe not all, just as solidarity. That you believe in any project that may be started that has never been done, and that you applaud them and that you are with them. Because the times that we are in right now require creative innovation. And we too are charitable, and we keep pushing ourselves for one more time, one more act of charity. And you know this.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Olivia Ainsa, and I'm the president for the Nogales Chamber of Commerce. Today, in response to our inquiries with the county, we had a supervisor, Mr. John Maynard, responding to a question we had, okay? And I will go ahead and read the email exactly the way he responded to us. So I think there's ways that we could go ahead and work with the county, between the city and the county, and like you said, maybe some of the stakeholders. The county spends about $2 million a year on care for the elderly. Long-term care, we are billed by the facilities around the state caring for elderly in the facilities, and from our Santa Cruz County and Nogales. Undoubtedly, some of that money goes to the Caranda-led network. So maybe we want to inquire how much money comes to Nogales, and maybe we can work between the county and the city of Nogales, because this is a responsibility not only for the city of Nogales, but also for all the residents in Santa Cruz County. So anything we can do as a Chamber of Commerce, please include us, and we're there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Billy.
if I could I just want to manage the expectations a little bit as it relates to the county. I had an opportunity to talk with the county manager the other day, and this particular issue came up, and it came up because, Mayor, we had just been told that this had happened, and we knew that it was going to be a huge impact to the community. It's my understanding, as it was put to me by the county manager, that this isn't really discretionary on the part of the county. In other words, they have a mandate that was referenced by Councilmember Parada just now, that the county government is an extension of the state government, and by charter that's how it plays out. They are mandated to contribute a certain portion of their tax revenues to this cause, but it's not. The way it was presented to me is that it's not a check that they cut. The state just garners that amount automatically before they render the tax revenue back to the county. So it really is kind of automated. The state, based off of the revenue generation for the county and based off of population, I suppose, determines how much money that's going to be that's going to go to this cause, and then just skims it off the top automatically and then remits to the county the balance. So I just wanted to manage the expectations a little bit. It didn't come to me that the county actually handwrites a check and says, oh, this year we're going to contribute this much money. It came to me as though the state just garners it themselves automatically and then remits to the county whatever is the balance remaining. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that as we approach the county and the hospital and have these dialogues.
The hospital would have an idea of what they get, Mr. Billy, from the state?
I don't even know if that's the case. you know, they may know how much they get from the state, but they may not know how much of that is coming from Santa Cruz County.
Santa Cruz County.
There may be a whole bunch of different elements involved with that. I just don't want it to come across as being so clear, so black and white. It may be rather complicated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dill.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Tony Sedgwick. I think you probably know all of you. I think what the people of the city of Nogales and the greater area are looking for from their leaders, from you, is that win, lose, or draw, you are leading the fight. That this is a major deal for Sister Esther, for a lot of people. And you know, we may not win. We may not win. You know, we know what the economic realities are in the United States. We are not a very popular enclave within the state of Arizona. But let's fight it. Let's fight. Carondelet is a large organization. It's an organization that not only through its charter and its beliefs is an organization that seeks to help. It's also a large semi-political entity. They have a number of other hospitals. They are very dependent on what's happening in their communities. They will continue to be here, at least for a while, with the hospital. But certainly I've heard rumors about the hospital closing. I'm sure they're just rumors, never going to happen, just like the nursing home. And so I would urge the city, if it's appropriate, I don't know much about that kind of stuff, but perhaps the council consider a resolution to seek ways to keep the old folks home open for an interim period, something that can then be picked up. I see we have local media here, but something that can be picked up in their backyard in Tucson. That matters a good deal. Most of their clients are Hispanic, certainly at St. Mary's up there. So you council folks, you government of the city, have some avenues beyond Mr. Dilley's approach. Carondelet will tell you, we've looked at that, we've thought about that, we've looked for people to buy it, we got nothing to offer. That'll be the quick and short answer. Because they have been looking at it, thinking about it, trying to get some other alternative. They didn't want to do this. But we're not going to be able to force them a little bit unless our community leaders are clearly, out in the front of this. And I know it's hard. You're all volunteers. Not only are you volunteers in your personal lives, but you're volunteers here. And I know it's hard. But nonetheless, that's kind of why you're here. This is the reason that I do things, because I think they're necessary. And I think that this is a seriously necessary issue, one that has tremendous impact in this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sedgwick. And believe me, I will be taking that avenue. Good man. You know very well as well. Yes, sir.
¿Se puede hablar en español?
Seguro que sí.
Mi nombre es Santiago López, vengo del Colegio Cochise. Nada más quisiera apoyar a estas personas que han hablado ahorita. Yo soy nieto de una señora que está ahí también. Me parece, he oído muchas cosas que desconozco, parece que se están peleando aquí entre ustedes, no sé, ¿no? Disculpen por eso, me sentí un poquito apenado por eso, por no conocer la situación. Pero la situación de lo que está pasando ahorita ahí en el nursing home, pues es grave, ¿no? Yo escuché eso y me vine del colegio para acá, salí ahorita de dar clases y me vine para acá. Solamente estoy pensando cómo el colegio Cochise, el campus de aquí de Nogales, ha estado aquí por muchos años. Es un colegio comunitario, de alguna manera le han hecho. O sea, de alguna manera se ha averiguado, se ha movido la gente, los administradores para poder seguir con el colegio. Sí sé que han tenido el cinturón bien apretado en los últimos años. Entonces, nada más quisiera plasmar aquí como maestro, como un formador ciudadano de estudiantes jóvenes, ni tan jóvenes también, porque es un colegio comunitario, que estamos presentes, que también quisiéramos saber y ayudar en lo que sea, ¿no? Al final de cuentas, como ser humano, ¿qué queremos? ¿Vivir en paz? No, también queremos morir en paz. Sí, gracias.
Muchas gracias. Señor Gloria, muy buenas tardes, señor Gloria.
Presentes. Perdón, pido permiso a este honorable público para hablar acerca de esta protesta pacífica, protestando por algo, ¿no? Desde luego. Para pedir a toda la ciudadanía que es Montecarlo, Río Rico, Peroquí, Patagonia, que como ciudad que es nuestro querido Nogales, Arizona, nos hagan favor de ayudarnos a protestar para pedirle al gobierno que no cierre esta fuente de salud y de trabajo. Esta unión que estamos pidiendo es para el presente, que somos esta generación, y para el futuro, la generación que son los niños, las niñas, los jóvenes y los adultos, que ya vienen tras de nosotros. Luego, esto, en lo personal y de todos los que tenemos pacientes en esta hogar, damos gracias a esta bondadosa y fina familia por la mucha ayuda que nos ha prestado, a los señores Edwis y a todos los que nos han estado apoyando, y espero un apoyo para ojalá que no se cierre esta fuente. Muchas gracias y hasta luego.
Muchas gracias, señor Gloria. Is there anybody else who would like to make a comment or anything to say?
I just want to make one last comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Pará.
I want to really congratulate Maria Cedric for her sacred efforts she's done for our community and helping the needy. She's done a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So what I'll be doing is, Mr. Jelly, if we get an opportunity as soon as possible, that maybe we could sit down with Carondelet, you and I, and just find out exactly how this started and to see if there's some type of avenue that we can go through as a city council and administration. And we're going to be doing this pretty soon, so we'll reach out to Carondelet tomorrow morning, and we want to hear what you heard from that meeting that you had with them, and then we'll find out and see if there's any opportunities there, or if there is a light somewhere that Carondelet at least doesn't let it extinguish, so that we can help out. And believe me, we're very conscious of what happens in our community. We're very conscious on your efforts. But we have to do this in a fashion that I know you're very concerned that the mission statement of the hospital, of course, is to help. And our mission statement here in the city is also to help our community. But we have to work together. We have to build partnerships. And we've really never had a partnership with Carondelet. We probably would have if we would have partnered in building the new hospital several years back. But that went under because of the economy too. So believe me, we're going to look into this, and we'll bring it back in some form to see exactly what Carondelet's got and what direction they're going. If there's any plans out there for them to proceed with this program that they have for the elderly, and we're going to continue on this. All right. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mayor.
We're going to go to item number 7. Consideration and possible action of order number 2011-11-073. Go ahead. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Any discussion?
just get,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, just
Go
maybe
ahead.
a little comments there from Mr. Machado on what this actually does with the city and the county.
Well, this is the agreement between the city and the county so that we can have the flood control district do some work within the city of Nogales. It had been done in the past, but there were disagreements regarding how it was done, so that agreement expired. This is an agreement, proposed agreement, that hopefully will get that back on track.
I congratulate the legal department because I know this has been oncoming for years, I think. So I do congratulate you for having done it.
One thing that I like too is on the timeline on some of this. I think we can even work on it in the future, Joe, I like that.
Yes, and this can be, we can always add to this, but I think the intent of this is just to get that working relationship reestablished.
It's very good. Mr. Dilly, do you want to say something?
I just wanted to make sure that it was clear in the council's mind in terms of what that maintenance really involves. And if I could draw your attention to page 4 of the agreement, which is in your packet, it kind of sums up the actual arroyo areas that are going to be covered in this. And I just point to section 3, paragraph B, and it's the Nogales Wash concrete line channel, the Ephraim Canyon concrete line channel, and the Potrero Creek culverts and the Meadow Hills Drive. Okay, so to the extent of the county, playing, this is what it involves. And I had one council member, I can't remember who it was, ask, well, what happens after the concrete lined area on the wash? There are a lot of concerns.
That was a mayor.
Was that you, Mayor? But if one of you are asking it, then I assume that it's a fair question and might be in all of your minds. The Nogales Wash, as you all know, has a front section. The southern section is concrete lined, but the majority of that wash is not lined. And this agreement speaks to the concrete lined portion of the wash and not the other. When I talked to Carlos Rivera earlier this week about that and why they were so specific in terms of being concrete lined versus just everything. And they have, as a county, they have a lot of concerns about the depth or the lack thereof of the IOI that's in the bottom of that unprotected portion of the wash. They have concerns just getting in the concrete portion of the wash, and they've made sure that the city shares in the liability. If you read the fine print of the agreement, should anything happen during our efforts to maintain the concrete portion, the city's not off the hook. I mean, we have a responsibility there. But their concern from a liability standpoint magnifies 100 times fold when we leave the concrete portion of the wash into the native portion that's just the raw dirt. In that, you don't really know how deep that IOI is from the bottom. The nature of washes is dynamic. Some places it deposits sediment, in other places it actually eats it away. So you just really don't know, and they don't want to even get near that. So that area of the wash is not addressed by this, and I just wanted to make sure that the council and the general public was aware as we move forward in this agreement. Okay?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 8, consideration possible action order number 2011-11-074.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Mr. Machado, this I believe is the property out to the east.
It's right in the same area of the 600 plus acres that we have out there.
Right.
where there was that latest condemnation action we had out there. They're doing additional survey work up there, and all they're asking is permission to cross our property while they do that survey work. Joe, my understanding on this is that there's actually an access road across a part of our property that falls outside of their 60-foot dedicated easement. And that this is a temporary right of entry that will buy them enough time to do their assessments, their survey work. And that at some point in time, if they continue to want to utilize that road, which I would suspect that they would do that, they would have to do that, that they would have to come back and somehow acquire that property from the city.
Right. What the government is attempting to do is create a road or a way of access to 60 foot along the border. But there's portions along that border that is very difficult to make roads that way. So what they're doing is going around those sections. So they're going to determine whether or not it's feasible to do a road along within their 60 foot, or whether or not they're going to have to buy or condemn other property off that 60 foot, and that's part of that survey. But you know, that's an issue that'll be addressed way down the road once they decide if they need additional property.
Thank you very much. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 9, consideration possible action on order number 2011-11-075.
So moved.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 10, consideration possible action of order number 2011-11-076.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve order number 2011-10-076.
Second.
Discussion?
Correction, Mr. Mayor. As the motion was read, it was order number 2011, order number
Yeah.
2011-10-076, and it's 11-076.
So which one is correct?
1-1.
11.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 11, consideration possible action of order number 2011-11-077.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor, this grant, it was referred to earlier by the police department when a presentation was made to the mayor and council regarding our overall plan to get ourselves up to speed with the federal regulations on communications with the radios. Because of the governor's appointment of Chief Kirkham and Chief Robles to that RAC committee, we've been very successful in getting some very helpful grant funding. This is the outcome of that. This money for the police department will be going towards those radios. It was hoped that the money that was going to be granted to the fire department would do the same. Unfortunately, it's not. It's earmarked exclusively for these portable laptops that help the response times and the operations of the fire department. But nevertheless necessary. It's just not going to be able to go towards those radios. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on both of those and the outcome of our personnel sitting on that RAC committee. It's been very helpful.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I would just like to request if you would read that, just the summation of the agenda item,
Why?
so that everybody knows what we're voting for. Nobody seems to know what we're voting on, we're just voting on a number.
It's
No,
on
you
the
don't have to.
agenda.
That's why it's on the agenda outside. You pick up the agenda and then you read it. You want to read it, Mr. Henderson?
No, I request you read it.
No, okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 12, consideration possible action of order number 2011-11-078.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I move to approve order number 2011-11-078.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Discussion? Kind of falls in the same area.
I covered both in that
Yeah.
list.
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 13, consideration possible action, resolution number R2011-11-030.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number R2011-11-030.
Thank you very much.
Is there a second?
Second. Okay, second.
Could you write us to
Discussion?
this one? Yes, could we
Discussion?
write us to this one here? This
Billy?
item here, we'll get into this.
Please.
Absolutely. I'm not sure of the date, but it was approximately the same point of time last year. We had well, let me start 2 years ago. 2 budget cycles ago, we were facing a rather serious general fund deficit, if you remember. And we had to take several steps in order to allow ourselves to operate in the black. And one of those steps was to freeze current vacancies. You remember that as a council. So we froze current vacancies. One of those vacancies frozen was an administrative assistant in the fire department. Okay? So fast forward 1 year, we just got done adopting the budget last year, and we had a vacancy occur, an office secretary, not an office assistant, but a secretary position, which is a lower grade pay position, became vacant in the planning and zoning department. And as I consulted with then Director Leonero, it was determined that the position wasn't necessary to fill at the time, that the administrative duties could fall on existing staff in the department without any kind of real hiccups or problems administratively. And so we were dealing with the CON change, all the revenue stuff with the ambulance billing in the fire department. And I felt at the time, this was a year ago, I felt that it would be appropriate to take some of that budget money and bring it over to the fire department. So I wasn't really creating a new position anywhere. It was a funded position, but I was using it where I thought it made most sense administratively. And we created a part-time position in fire. There's a lot of training needs. We have office staff that does the equivalent in the police department in order to keep things going as efficiently as we can and to stay on top of some of the contractual relationships. And then if we're going to be moving forward with the application to the health department to get our CON and be able to do interfacility transports, there's just a need over there for administrative help. It's still my opinion that we're still okay in the planning department. And the request before you tonight is to take the remainder of that administrative secretarial position in the planning and zoning department and allow that money to go over. It won't create a full-time position over there because that's a higher grade pay, but it will move it from a part-time to a 3/4 time position and allow that assistance to be there where we think it's going to make the most sense, at least at this time. And I've worked closely with the fire department. They understand that this is grant funding that not grant funding. I'm sorry. It's essentially a loan to get us through some tough times. But the activity in the planning and zoning department, from an administrative standpoint, is a lot slower than what we were experiencing in the demands over in the fire department. I guess I could have just come back to the council and said, hey, listen, that frozen position, we might need to consider unfreezing it. But I always look inward first and to see if I can move some money around so that we don't have to do something like that and we can kind of hold the line on some of the budget decisions that we've made. So the action tonight before the council and your consideration is to take the remainder portion of that money in planning and zoning and move it over to the fire so that they can go from a part-time position to a 3/4 time position and get some added administrative relief in the fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Mr. Parra? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 14, consideration possible action of order number 2011-11-079.
So moved.
Second.
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 There were
Discussion?
two options on this one.
Two options.
Excuse me?
No.
No.
Am I on the wrong one?
This is the notice of intent.
This is a notice of intent on water and wastewater. Discussion?
Mr. Dilly,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Dilly, could you just go ahead and this is an order of the Council of the City of Nogales authorizing the city manager to publish a notice of intent to increase water and water waste rates and setting a public hearing to consider said proposal. Could you just expound on that, please? Exactly what we're giving or not giving as a authority to do?
The only authority vested in the action before council tonight is simply to direct staff to follow statutory procedures and post a notice of intent to the general public, so that the general public becomes aware via this public notice that's published in the local paper, and they understand that on a specific date, and in this case I think it's suggested to be next council meeting, your next regularly scheduled council meeting, December 7th, a matter will be placed before council for your consideration to adjust the rates. Tonight's item is not intended for council to weigh in terms of an opinion, whether you're in favor of or against the rate adjustment. It is procedural, it's more or less housekeeping, and in order for us to get to a point where the council can, whether it's in favor or not, essentially close the door on the issue and answer the question, this step has to take place. And so from the public standpoint, it's not advisable at this time, at least from my standpoint, my recommendation is, the matter isn't in front of you to weigh in on whether you're in favor of it or against it. This is a procedural issue in order to get to that point, where you can then say, for these reasons I'm in favor of it, or for these reasons I'm against it. This issue is just procedural from state statute requirements.
But you do need an aye vote to proceed.
If an aye vote is not obtained tonight, then we do not proceed, and as far as I'm concerned, we've exercised every avenue available to us to get this matter in front of council, and the issue is closed. There are undoubtedly, as far as I'm concerned, there are operational consequences to that decision, and tonight probably isn't the night that we would discuss that. I would bring that back to you as a separate item at some other point in time. But even when I did it that way, it wouldn't be an item where you would say, okay, let's adopt new rates. This is the opportunity. We're on the path right now set forth by state statute to get the council to a point where you do have that discussion and you say, yes, I'm in favor of, or no, I'm against it, and here's why. That's just not tonight. This is just procedural based off the state statute.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Diaz, we'll start with you, sir.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Nay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Item number 15, consideration possible action of order number 2011-11-080.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I would like to engage the council a little bit.
Go
on this
ahead,
one.
Mr. Dillon.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I need to inform the council that we have, as staff, we have not received a response. Have you received anything yet, John? Okay. we have not received a response back from IBWC as to whether or not they would be accepted of this offer. So you approve something tonight that at this point in time, staff isn't entirely convinced that IBWC is going to bite and move forward with. What this is back in May, we received, the mayor's office received a letter from IBWC saying a redesign of the IOI is absolutely critical. Basically, we're operating on borrowed time, and at any point in the future, we could have a bit of a catastrophe there with a rupture of the IOI. They, in that letter, stated that they had gone to Congress and received an earmark of $750,000, which at the time they thought was about half of the cost of this design, this redesign. And in that letter stated that they're ready to go as soon as the city is able to pony up the other half. Since that letter, my office and the mayor's office, we've been engaged in working with IBWC and getting them off of this point where they feel like, for some reason, the city of Nogales is responsible on this 50%. Last I know, the only percentage point that we're obligated to is defined by our relationship with the wastewater treatment plant, and that's 23%. I think we've been successful in working with staff of IBWC. I'm not saying the commissioner at this point in time, but at least staff understands the city's situation. And to help that out, we received a copy of a letter from ADEQ Director Henry Darwin to IBWC, and basically telling IBWC that they can't shirk their responsibility, and they have 100% obligation to maintain the wash, and they have 100% obligation to maintain the IOI, which was very helpful to us. So we got to a point in our last meeting with staff at IBWC that they were looking to the city to do some in-kind help on the study, maybe doing some potholing, some GPS identification of where the manholes are along the way, things like that, barricading, maybe some traffic control to help them out in the design. Plus, they're looking for some financial skin in the game. They weren't very defined in terms of what they were expecting. We just know that I think staff-wise, they're off of the 50%. After that, we received an email from Tom Connor, EPA, is it District 9?
Yes.
District 9. Tom Connor throws out this suggestion. He wasn't part of our meetings with IBWC. I don't know if he's got some super ears or whatever, but he throws out this suggestion and says, hey, I don't think that the city of Nogales is going to be successful in burning through 100% of the available grant money on the sewer rehabilitation projects. Perhaps we can consider taking some of that grant money, coupling it with the city's matching money, which comes from one of our bonds, and throwing that at IBWC and saying, hey, here's what the city can offer. So in working with Tom Connor, in working with engineering and looking at our projects, we feel fairly comfortable that there's a potential in us being able to offer up to $100,000 combined between EPA grant and our bond money. And we want council's blessing to throw that out at IBWC and see if they bite. Now, John's put that out informally, and that's what we haven't heard back from IBWC. The language is specific of the resolution or order that you're considering tonight, and that it says an up to or not to exceed $100,000 combined. Because we need to be very, very careful that we're not committing money that's going to get us in trouble with some of the projects that we have going on right now. So we're going to play that stuff out, make sure that we're safe, but any money that's not allocated to these projects and that we would otherwise lose on December 31st, 2011, we want to be able to throw that out at IBWC and get this design project going and down the road. And that's what the item is in front of you tonight. Sorry, that was a little lengthy, but it's a lot of details.
Any discussion? No? Got
You
enough?
want more?
No, no. Commission wants some more. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 17, consideration possible action of order number 2011-11-081.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Discussion?
I only had a question, but you answered it. I wanted to know what was the amount of money that the city pays for supplies, paper products and whatever, and you mentioned it's
$2,000.
no more than $2,000.
Yeah.
Historically, it's right there in that ballpark, $2,000.
This does bad.
Any more discussion? Mr. Hanesian, I don't think you want to say anything. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 18, consideration possible action of ordinance number 02011-11-006.
So move.
Thank you very much.
For discussion, Mr. Dilley?
Yes.
Give an explanation on why we're doing this, on the flood, this mapping of the floodplains.
Yes. Joe, you back on? Yeah. But we recently received notice from the National Flood Insurance Program that the city was at a crossroads. We had to make a decision, or there were going to be very definitive consequences to it. The decision is, either we have to take control of floodplain administration and establish our own set of guidelines and standards and procedures, or we have to take and put both of our feet into the order or resolution, whatever we did back in 2006, when we handed the baton off to the county and said, county, you're the flood control administrator for the whole area. So we had to do something. The consequence of not acting is that either the city has to adopt a development moratorium, which is an incredible negative mark for the city, a big shadow over us. A lot of press on something like that. Or we forfeit our ability to be beneficiaries of the National Flood Insurance Program. In other words, our businesses and our residents would not be able to qualify for flood insurance. I was talking to Mike Massey at the time about what are the consequences, and looking at it all, what's before you here is basically just doing what we do anyway. It's basically formalizing a relationship with the county that exists today anyway. And so I looked at it as being the least onerous on the city, and something that clears the books and gets the National Flood Insurance Program off of our backs. And so basically what it's doing is it's saying, hey, whatever the county adopts in terms of guidelines and standards, development standards relative to flood administration, floodplain administration, we accept as our own. And the maps that are generated on a periodic basis, the FEMA maps, those are ours as well, and we accept that, and we understand that administrative control rests with the county who we gave it to years ago. Did I? Yes. Okay.
See, what happened, when we gave the authority to the county to be the floodplain administrators, we should have adopted the ordinance then, but we didn't do it. We did it half what we should have done then. We've been waiting to do this because the county was going to amend their ordinance. Rather than do it twice, we were just waiting. But they haven't done it, and then now we have the deadline. So we have to do this or lose the ability to get floodplain insurance. When the county updates their ordinance, we will also do it also. We will also do it. So this is not written in stone, but it's just something that we have to do because of a deadline imposed by the federal government.
Ready.
Comfortable? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 20, consideration possible action order number 2011-11-082. Anybody want to move on that?
Can we have discussion before the,
You can.
You can, yeah, if you want to.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
You know, I mentioned it to Mr. Diaz, I think also to Mr. Parada. I was in Yuma. I was very, very impressed because they have the largest American flag. I think it's at the VFW there. It's the largest American flag in the United States that's flown there. I think they just bumped it to number 2, but it's a huge flag. And when I went there, there's people there looking at the flag. I mean, it was like, you know, you're not at ground zero, but you're there and you have something very impressive to look at, and it is a very impressive flag. Of course, I did kind of suggest to Mr. Diaz that they do that at the VFW here in Nogales. Let's trump Yuma and put a bigger flag that can be seen from Hermosillo, right?
Need the pole first. We need the pole.
Very tall pole, yeah. Again, I would like to find out what is the tallest Christmas tree that any city in Arizona puts up. You know, we're requesting here, the request is for a 20-footer. I would like to change that to get something that would legitimately bring people to Nogales. We have a chance. I mean, there's a lot of people who are going to be in Arizona this year. The snow has already started back east. There's going to be a lot of snowbirds coming this year. It might save the state, might save a lot of places. I would love to be able to advertise the tallest Christmas tree of a city in the state of Arizona. I know that Bisbee doesn't have it, Tucson doesn't have it. I don't know, I do know at the Mormon church in Phoenix, they have a very tall one. I just don't know how tall is it. Any idea?
I have no idea.
I know they have a very,
Where do you
very tall
get
one.
this stuff?
I've been there. You know, you can go there.
So Dilly, you should know that.
No! Mr. Parada says it was stolen from a Catholic church. But my opinion is I would love to have a much taller tree than 20 feet, so we can go ahead and advertise it throughout the state of Arizona, and I'm sure the Tucson stations would get a hold of it. I'm sure the Phoenix stations would get a hold of it. I mean, we have a chance to really bring in a lot of tourism, because people are gonna be traveling Arizona, and, you know, again, I think we have something to offer. We're right on the border. We can get people from Mexico that would come to it, and I think we would get people from all of Arizona coming to it. Right? You can see when they do it at the White House, they have it on television, they do it all. I'm sure other cities do. Again, I think we have a very, very big chance. We've been looking for something that could give Nogales a name. I think if we go ahead and we do with the mayor's deal of bringing people to acknowledge what Nogales is, I think we could bring a lot of people to downtown Nogales and a lot of people to Nogales just to look at our Christmas tree. And my suggestion would be, I would like to have that number more, I would say 20,000 would be more of an appropriate number. And I think we could get a lot of people coming to Nogales. What else do we have? What are we gonna advertise for, what are we gonna do for Christmas? And I think that could do it, and we could leave it up. Bisbee, a lot of people go to Bisbee because of downtown Bisbee, they all light up, they all have little Christmas trees. They don't have a big Christmas tree, they have little Christmas trees. And they have a very nice little deal. I go to Bisbee for that every year. I would love to have people come to Nogales and look at the tallest Christmas tree of any city in the state of Arizona. That's my opinion on that.
Go ahead, Mr. Parada.
I think we have an overall look at what's going on in our community. We're talking about $10,000 for a Christmas tree for a couple of days. versus people that we have in the hospital with long term, that are in need of financial, they're in the financial problems right now. To me, $10,000, it's a lot of money to be spent in that manner. I think if we want to decorate the old park, I think we have the staff to decorate and make it look like a Christmas card. If we want to really look into it, that will attract a lot of people.
Oh, you'll attract me.
Everything. So,
Well, you know, we have $10,000 in the Christmas, I don't know if it's 10,000, what is it, 10, 5, what is it? 5? You knocked down 5,000, okay. Well, you know, that we use, there was money left from the 4th of July, that, the 25,000. There was money made on the beer sales from 4th of July, that if you actually look into it, we could compensate from the contingency and bring it back from that because of the savings, the good job that was done by our staff in that event. The reason I put it on there is because for years we've had a tree. We've had a tree for years. Matter of fact, the tree that was there was a used tree that I think the city, Mr. Rios at the time paid $5,000–6,000 for a used tree. And it was nice. It went, I think it was about 20-footer. But it's not safe. The tree, you know, it's been tried to put it up. The employees from Public Works 2 years ago, and it wasn't safe. It comes back down by itself because it's got a chain system that it has. It's kind of too antiquated. This tree, the tree that our staff has been looking at, they look actually like real trees, and very impressive. Our downtown area needs some spirit, some Christmas spirit. We as a city, we need to support our downtown merchants so that we can have something downtown. We just can't have something that looks good when it's lit. We need to have something that looks good during the day, during the 8 working hours. And Mr. Parada, I know there's a need right now. But if we were to get $10,000 and invest it in Carondelet, that wouldn't even be a day's work. Okay, so we have to look in the overall picture of this. I know that it's hard to imagine spending $10,000, but I'm going to tell you something. Our city spent $27,000 on La Maxima for 2 years, and did we get anything out of that? No. No, we didn't get anything. And so, this tree can go for 10, 15 years. It's not for 1 month. I understand the radio station today said, why buy a tree if you're going to throw it away in a month? The ignorance. This is a tree that's going to be used for generations. It'll last 10, 15 years. Break it down in years' time, it's $500 a year. We can make that expenditure for our merchants downtown. And I think we should do that.
Can we hit the private sector for needed help to help us out to pay the $10,000?
What we can do, maybe they can help us decorating the rest of the park, like you say. But if we decide to decorate the park with lights, it's going to be more than $10,000. I can tell you right now. This tree would be a focal point. It's got a 12-foot base, 20 feet high. It'd be beautiful for our downtown area. We don't have anything downtown to attract people to come shop. I think it's a great idea. Mr. Anizan, I understand you would like to see the biggest tree, but I was being very conservative with this, and it actually is that the cost is not $10,000, it's $8,100.
Well, again, Mr. Mayor, again, like I said, it might be more. Maybe we could get some more money from the downtown merchants. I know that Bruce Bracker would be very, very kind to generate money, but to buying a bigger tree.
Are we also including in the north?
Yes, we'll include it, yes. For every foot higher, we'll include one.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I just have a question. This is gonna be on top of what we're spending for the Christmas light parade? Because we have a $10,000 for that.
But that's not gonna, no, it's $5,000 for the
For
Christmas
the
light.
Christmas light.
Yeah, and not even half of that will be spent, maybe even a quarter of it. Because that $5,000 is for actual purchases, not for in-kind. So that is probably not even gonna be used.
Mr. Mayor, in the
Because we
first-
already have lights, we already have decorations for City Hall, we have decorations for certain things. We're really, I don't think, Mr. Kissinger, I really don't think there'd be any expenditures as it looks, does it? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, and the tree would already come with lights.
Yes,
And the whole, it's
it's lit.
already done. It's already in sections and you just put one on top of the other. And again, like I says, we have a great opportunity to do something that could bring a lot of people to
Mr.
Nogales.
Hannes, can I, before I get any further, the company that both companies that we talked to, these trees can grow at 3-foot sections. So, just because you buy a 20-foot now, doesn't mean that next year it cannot be 23 or 26. You buy the bottom section, the top section, whatever, and it just comes and you assemble it, and then you plug it in, and it's got a section of light, so you can actually get to a 30-foot tree, you know.
Mr. Mayor, do you
within years.
remember what the price was for, let's say, a 25-footer?
I think we just went up to 23 footers, and I think they were in the range of $8,900. $8,900.
Again, just as a question, if anybody knows, what is the tallest city tree in Arizona? Manny, do you have any?
No idea.
Mr. Flagstaff.
Google it.
This is like
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
the oldest cemetery plot there. This is the same story.
Yeah.
John, as we're looking at those trees, we're hearing some dollar numbers out there. We feel comfortable we'll be able to bring it in, this 20-footer, under the 10,000 mark, but, I mean, where are we really at with that?
There was two options. I didn't bring the spreadsheet with me, but the mayor's correct that one price for a 20-footer is 89, but you still have to consider the shipping, which goes on to that, and taxes.
Okay, but you're still comfortable that we'll fall under the 10,000?
That's why we're asking for 10. If we got 10, we can get that 20-footer in.
Okay.
Depends which one we go with.
Again, Mr. Kissinger, would buying that, if the city bought it, would it be tax exempt or not? Would we pay the sales tax on it or not? We would be paying?
We would pay tax.
We would be paying.
I think we pay tax unless we purchase it. I believe there was one exception. If you did it over the internet, you might not
This
pay
is-
tax, maybe. I don't know, something along those lines.
Nice, man.
But still, we're looking for the 10 as a not to exceed.
Yes. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, could we use that money to create a couple of jobs for November and December for the people that are out of a job so that they can enjoy Thanksgiving and Christmas instead of Christmas tree?
I don't know if we can create anything with $10,000. I don't know. Mr. Dillon?
I haven't, I really haven't given that any thought. And the short answer is that it would be temporary work, part-time, but I don't know what jobs we would create with that or how many that would really satisfy.
On the temporary program, did we do away with the whole temporary program, or did we cut it? Do we still have money on that?
I think the only time we cut that was the first year, when we were facing the big deficit in the general fund. We cut 2 seasonal or temporary programs in half, right?
Yeah, it went from 140 to 70,000.
70,000, and I think we cut Parks and Rec a little bit more this last year, right? But the short answer to the question is we still have those programs viable. They're just at a reduced amount. So
But there is money right now? If we wanted to hire temps right now for the holidays?
I don't know. I don't think we contemplated that. It was just during the summer, wasn't it?
Is there anything there?
Please, John.
Terry, wave at me if I'm wrong. I think it was a budget amount of close to 65,000 that we have in this year's budget. That money originally was for the temporary worker program. Those were what you would normally see as the weed abatement.
Yeah.
People that would come in and they would work for no more than 6 months, and they were given the weed eaters and they went out and did some weed whacking on that. We haven't spent any of that budgeted money so far out of this year's budget. We haven't brought anybody on.
So,
One of the
Vice
ideas.
Mayor?
Check.
Vice Mayor, that, he's saying that there is possibility that we can use that money. That nothing was used for temporary programs for the Christmas, I don't know.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I think again, and this is just a comment, and I'm sure I can get it second. J.C. Penney's that's downtown is closing. You know, I think we need, again, you know, we can sit here and next year we can talk about who else is closing downtown, right? Again, I think we need to do something that really will attract people. If it does turn out to be an attraction, the people will hire more employees. There will be more people downtown. There may be, we could even get some kind of a program to where we can have people selling food and people selling coffee or hot chocolate. And that would employ more people than if we just divided $10,000 between 8 people or whatever. We have to do something downtown. You know, Mr. Bracker, would you tend to agree that you know, Penny's, when is J.C. Penney's closing?
January 15th.
January 15th. J.C. Penney's has been there for 90 years. I think it was, wasn't it the first J.C.
It's
Penney's?
the oldest J.C. Penney's in the state of
In
Arizona.
the state of Arizona. It
1920.
was the first J.C. Penney's, and it is now closing. I mean, my suggestion is we've got to let the people of Arizona know what is at downtown Nogales. And this could be a great, great opportunity. We can let it go. We can wait another 5 years. And then we'd be talking about 5 different businesses that close downtown, right? So again, it's something new that could happen. It's something new that could put us on the map. And, you know, I think we're killing the horse, but I think if we look at it and we see a really nice big tree there, and we could push it through the state, I think we could get a lot of people coming down.
Mr. Diaz, go ahead.
I think we should put it off to our study session and maybe get the downtown merchants on board and get their suggestions and maybe get some contributions to do this.
We're not gonna,
It's only
the
2
shipping
weeks.
time will not be for the, it wouldn't make it, the study session's on the 14th and the Christmas parade is on the 3rd. We won't have the time for shipping, so it'll be fast. Well, let's vote for it.
Mr. Bracker.
Mr. Bracker, go ahead.
The MOU you just agreed to with the restrooms, downtown merchants come up with $35,000 a year to pay for the attendance. If you want to know what the downtown merchant portion is.
Yeah,
Could
they
you
pay
put
35.
that into the Christmas tree instead?
Sure, if you guys will cover the attendant.
Oh, let's just put it for a vote then. Okay. Oh, there's no motion, oh, we have a motion. Is there a
Okay,
motion here?
let me make the motion then. I will make the motion to on the $10,000 as the agenda reads, its agenda item reads.
I'll second it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Nay.
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 There's 2 ayes and 4 nays.
One chance.
Okay, item number 21, future agenda items.
I have one, I'd like to, for future agenda item, I'd like to, Meadow Hills on the line, see where we're at. The Meadow Hills Country Club.
In terms of the leases and stuff
Right.
like, oh, okay.
Anything else? Number 22, mayors and council report. Mr. Diaz.
We're getting all ready for the November 11th Veterans Day parade and activities. The unveiling of the plaque will be November 11th. The plaque is already up, but it will be formally unveiled on November 11th at about 11 o'clock. Parade starts at 10 o'clock. We're going to have a flyover by the F-16s from Davis Mountain. We're going to have some awards to give at the ceremony at the plaque, and we will have food and refreshments at the VFW after all the activities.
Actually, the flyover is going to be done by Mr. Machado. It's going gonna be very slow though. It's gonna go as slow as possible, so we can throw candy. Yes.
And that's it for right now.
Gracias.
Nothing I really want to talk about.
Thank you, sir. Para.
Yes, I attended the Southeastern Arizona Education Center. It was very interesting. We had our say about the school system, it was going on in the schools and educational level. And I attended the First Things First. They got a check for $1,300,000, some of that area. And I attended the Red Ribbon ceremonies, cemetery tours, and then I went to a meeting here with a redistricting commission that was appointed by the governor.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor?
I attended the Hall of Fame. Dr. Barona and his staff did a wonderful job. I think they got quite a bit of money, and that is for the students, for them to get scholarships. And it was awesome. Mr. Manny was there, and he was taking pictures all over, and I think it was awesome. People were just so happy. Even students, former students from Nogales, Arizona that are now big shots, and they were there to support them. And there's a lady that came up, I don't remember her name, sir, that offered to give $1,000 until she died. Yeah. And she offered to give $1,000 every year to the Hall of Fame until she died. So it was a wonderful event. No. She's 60.
Yes, I attended the Young Talents Concert at the Nogales High School Auditorium. I also attended the open house in Las Lagunas. I attended the exhibition at Consulado Mexicano on Tauromania. I also attended the Clean City, Healthy City Mayor's campaign. I also went to the exhibition at Pineria Alta of the movie Cabeza de Vaca. I attended the concert at the Nogales High School on accordionist Antonio Barrerena. We had the Dia de los Muertos event at Pearson Park, and I attended the Boys and Girls Grand Opening in Nogales, Sonora.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything to say. Mr. Dilly?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just as a point of information, we do have scheduled a special meeting of the council, November 14th. A number of items on that agenda. That agenda should be out to you shortly. And I think a lot of the items on there are of interest to the council, so I hope you can mark that off in your calendar. We'll do it early afternoon, say around 3 o'clock, so we can get through those items. Tomorrow is the health fair. Councilman Felix, the last meeting announced that, and in his absence, I just wanted to make sure that I made that announcement as well. Tomorrow at the rec center, 11 o'clock in the morning to 2 p.m. Obviously, you're more than welcome to attend and to see what it's all about, but it should be really good. I appreciate HR department and all their help in making this happen. So, let's see. You haven't driven down Morley and seen how far they're progressing. It's pretty impressive. I think they're very confident in being able to get the project done on time or before time. And all reports that I'm hearing at this point in time is that we're going to be well within budget, which is a good indicator. We've been very fortunate with the weather. The contractor hasn't had to deal with a lot of rain or anything like that along the way. I was out there on site this morning talking about how to really address parking on I guess that would be the west side of Morley in the area of the post office and the old city courthouse or county courthouse. There's no sidewalk there, and so engineer-wise, we're creating some liability by encouraging cars to park on that side when there's no sidewalk to protect them as they walk. So we're battling through that kind of issue, but all reports that I'm getting, things are going very well with that, and I'm looking forward to getting that project done and behind us. Prior to opening that project up, our city crews will go down through and make sure it's all weeded and cleaned, and the contractor will all the backfill and sweeping, so it's just going to be a really nice looking road when it's all finalized. I don't know if you wanted to have an opening on that. you know.
What, do you want me to put a plaque?
Cut the,
Put a plaque in the middle of the road.
anyway, that project's going well. I did want to let the council know that I've engaged the county in the idea of maybe partnering together in a lobbying effort with the state legislature in this next session. I'll be working very closely with the mayor and making sure that the agenda is what we need it to be. The issue on the table is the continued raids to the HERF fund. And what I think we'd like to try to lobby for is a special consideration as a border community, recognizing the floating, I was looking for the word, the floating population that comes from Nogales, Sonora into our community on a daily basis is not being captured in the state's draconian formula-based process. So our effort is to work with them in recognizing this floating population as they equate the proportionate share of HERF funds our way. So it's kind of specialized, but when I engaged the county on their interest, they seem to be really, really interested. I think our best efforts would be to rope in communities like Douglas and San Luis as well, and the mayor's office will help coordinate that with his counterparts in those communities. But our hopes is to hit the legislature this session with that. I just wanted to keep the council aware of what's going on there. And then I have a good sanitation update on all the good work that we're doing in terms of turning some things around in sanitation and our operations. Rather than go through this, I'll make a copy of it and put it in your box, and you can have it for your own reading pleasure. So that concludes my update to the council.
Thank you, Mr. Dilly. Meeting is adjourned.
Mr. Mayor, before you close, please, can I thank Mr. Bachiller of the cemetery? I went to the cemetery today, and it looks clean, it looks neat. I also saw his crew cutting the grass at the Chamber of Commerce, which looks very pretty, and I do want to congratulate him and his staff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.